demonstration video. Today we're going to be having a look at how to do road wheels. So this is an Academy road wheel for the T34. It's from the German one that I did the after action report on. Academy give you volumes of road wheels with these kits. So I'm just going to go ahead and use one of them because it's what I've got spare. With this one, literally all I've done is nip it off the sprue. I've not cleaned up any of the sprue gates, and there's a little bit of flash around the inside that I'm going to give some attention to as we weather this up and make it a little bit less factory fresh. For this, what we're going to use is, this is just a sanding sponge. I think I got this from the Home Depot or something like that. It's a wood sponge, it's coarse, it's kind of rough, but it'll do the job. Sanding stick of your choice. I have the Wilder one, so it's got the 4 different sides. I think this was like $8, and it's kind of coming apart, but none too bad. We have a very old file here, which is actually a bit corroded at the end, but what we want is something that's got a nice triangle type shape. This one's actually a semicircle, but it'll still work for what we're doing. And then scalpel. This is my trusty, was it Swan Morton, something like that it says on it, with the trash blade that gets used for everything. Although I'm going to reach over and get my exact knife right now. So there it is, that's the exact knife that I use. It probably needs a new blade, but it'll be fine. I was just looking at a Swan Morton one thinking, I'm about to videotape myself losing a finger here. So, first thing we're going to do is, I'm going to angle the camera down a little bit so that as I lean over it, we're both looking at roughly the same thing. We're going to just carefully deal with this little bit of flash. This is generally how I deal with flash, is just to lightly encourage it off with the blade. Put a bit of a scratch in the back of the road wheel doing that, but it should be okay. This is kind of a coarse sand, this is just another sanding stick. It's kind of coarse, but it'll do what I need it to. Regards, tidying that up. And then usually what I'll do is I'll get some Tamiya cement like so, and then just to kind of, if there's any dust or anything, just giving it that little rub down with some glue will kind of set everything into the one piece. But once you got mud and dirt and stuff like that on there, you're not really going to be able to tell that it's not perfect. So for sanding a road wheel, you don't want to do it like this at a 90-degree angle, because you're going to put a flat spot on it and it's going to look weird. What I do is I take my sanding block, finger over the top like that, and then I literally roll it to take the mold seam and whatnot off. In doing it this way, it helps to preserve that roundness, but also, depending on how coarse a block you use, it'll start to put little, I think grooves is maybe the right word, little ruts, little marks into the actual surface of the wheel. This block isn't coarse enough to have done it already. So I'm doing it on this one. I'm gonna go a bit heavy with this as I weather it, just to kind of show kind of proof of concept, if you will. So give this guy a few rubs. And we're starting to pick up some fine scratches along there as if it's run through some dirt, which has had an effect on the rubber. It's also served to take out the mold seam and the sprue gates. So the next thing that we're going to look at, just as a mess with this, is we're going to take our diamond file with that edge, and we're going to put in a couple of little nicks and things like that, as if the tire's run over a small stone that's been sharp enough to peel a small section away from the sidewall. And there's our scratches kind of starting to come in a bit more now. So I'm going to take this guy and we're going to find a spot. So I'm just going to lay this down. What I like about doing on the Academy wheel is it's got little notches that kind of help you to choose where you want to go. But after just a couple of rubs, you can see, if we can get it to focus, that we've got a reasonable looking nick there. It doesn't look factory fresh anymore. So we just kind of put in a couple of them. Sometimes I'll just go straight across as if we've run across maybe a metal bar of some sort, if that's managed to get into the tracks as we're moving through. Just little bits of variation and interest to add to the model. Then we'll get our little scalpel blade, and similarly but longer and in a more shallow sort of an angle, we'll take out bits like this. We can also do similar, or if we wanted to simulate a crack, just go in across the angles a little bit, and then pop that out. It does help if you do this with a sharper blade than what I'm attempting to. But as you can see, we've kind of got a nice little nick in there. He says dropping it. So we can see here's one of the scalpel marks. This one was a nick that we put in with the file. This was the file, and then we've got a little groove here where the tire rubber has cracked. This technique is going to work really well for World War II vehicles such as the T-34 that had these sort of rubber rims. You would need to use a different technique for things with steel rims, obviously, because they don't have the rubber, but the sanding and the sort of polishing effect that goes with that should work quite nicely. And things of that nature. Essentially what we want to get is we want to get a nice sort of unevenness to the rubber so that the wheels look like they've been around. We're just going to give it another couple of quick passes across this just to remove any extra rubber or any extra plastic rather, that may have accumulated around the edges of our marks, and then just to kind of reinforce the scratched up effect that we were looking for. So yeah, that's been that. It's something that I shared with my Fredericksburg Amps group a while ago. The only thing this really needs now before it's ready for painting is a bit of a clean. Normally I would shoot it with high pressure air from the airbrush just to kind of get some of the crap off. But yeah, that's been that. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you.